just because of the choices that you make in life doesn't damn you to whatever that was.
Hey everybody, me again, Wayne, your metal professor. Thank you so much for choosing this video. And I had the opportunity to see Dogma, our favorite metal sex nuns, in Chicago in November. Opening for Dogma were a band I'd never heard of, Bullet to the Heart, a Chicago regional outfit whose music I would describe as alternative metal, but we'll see how the band founder describes their music here in just a moment. And Bullet to the Heart were really good. They were so good I bought merch, in fact. I reached out to them afterwards, and band founder and lead singer and primary songwriter Audrey Queen was kind enough to grant an interview, touching on all kinds of things from genre to purpose to weird fan interactions and other things as well. This is part one of the interview. Part two will be along in the near future, I hope. Cross your fingers. Here you go, Audrey Queen of Bullet to the Heart. I'm sure you are sick of the Evanescence and Lacuna Coil references. Oh yeah, that smile says it all. How would you describe your band's sound?
Um, Honestly, it like we jump around so much with genres because I just don't think we fit into a specific genre. So our sound is just like whatever sound you want to hear, you will most likely find it within our music. So if you're looking for metal, you're going to find metal. You're looking for rock, you're going to find rock. You're looking for pop, we've got pop. Anything that you particularly want to hear, if you're like, oh, I want to hear this, we've probably got it in our catalog because we've written so much music. And it's impactful. It's meant to touch you in ways that you never felt before. And it's just to spread a message and just to make you feel like you're not alone in this world, that there are people out there that know what you're going through or may um, kind of understand what you're going through and bring you into this community where you will find so much love and support for anything that you need.
Whatever sort of music one wants to hear, one if one looks for it, one will get there. I think that applies to a lot of things. Like I can listen to a band and someone else will listen to it and I'll be like, yeah, that was good metal. Somebody will be like, what? Metal? That wasn't metal, that was hard rock. And I'm like, well, fucking whatever you want to call it, man. If you like it, you like it. I don't remember what it was, but it's the song that is about addiction. It's one of your earlier ones.
Yes, breathe.
Yes, I love that message right at the beginning, right before getting into the song itself. The message of acceptance, right, of inclusion, of hey, you're not alone. So, I mean, that runs through a lot of your music. Where does that come from? Where's the inspiration for being so positive?
So, growing up, I feel like with the things that I went through with my parents' divorce and my own trauma, I always felt a little bit excluded as a human being and like I didn't quite fit in anywhere. So, when I started writing music and writing poetry, I wanted to touch those people that almost felt like they were the outcasts of society or they didn't feel like they had a place to fit in. And I wanted to give them a place to fit in because, like I said, I didn't necessarily feel like I fit in anywhere. So when I got these group of people together and I started writing songs, I was like, I'm going to write about things that people won't necessarily come out and write about or come out and be like, yeah, if you need help, go get it. A drug addiction and mental illness, those go hand in hand. Like drug addiction is a disease. It's not just something that you choose or you want to do. I mean, yeah, you may party as a teenager, whatever, and then you accidentally get addicted. But it's always founded on something that's not quite right in your brain, and you're trying to suppress that or mask what is going on truly, and you're not dealing with it. So, I just wanted people to feel like just because of the choices that you make in life doesn't damn you to whatever that was, because you could have been a different person and now you've changed and you're a better person now. Or you went through something so horrific that people can't even fathom what that feels like. And you don't deserve to be pushed to the side and told that you're a loser or you're just a drug addict or you're just mentally ill or dramatic. Like I don't want people to feel that type of way. I want them to feel loved and accepted, and that you can get through anything as long as you turn inward. And if you don't necessarily have support in your personal life, you'll have support with our band, you'll have support with our bloodline, our community. We will help you through whatever you need to go through. You won't be cast aside like everybody else has done to you.
That reminds me of a line from one of my favorite books. It's by Lama Soraya Das. It's called Letting Go of the Person You Used to Be. Fuck, that's a terrible title. I wish someone had asked me before they titled that book. But there's a wonderful passage in it because it's about dealing with grief. It's about dealing with trauma. Passages, some losses are so traumatic that you can't get over them. You might never get over them. But that doesn't mean that you can't still grow. Incorporate that grief, incorporate that trauma, and go, all right, what positive can I get from this? Which is hard, but what's the alternative, right? Addiction or just, sinking down into depression or whatever.
Mhm.
So, do you think that a lot of rock musicians and I mean creative people in general, I think, are this way? But do you think that a lot of rock musicians are coming from kind of that same place? It's like, well, fuck, whatever my surroundings are right now, I feel like the odd bird. Um, oh, what's that? Metal. Oh, I like that. I can fit there. What
Yeah,
what, what do you think?
I feel like, yeah, a lot of people, like, I always had the saying, like, you don't choose music, music chooses you. I feel
Hmm.
like a lot of people that love music or become musicians, it's like their escape. Like something is going on and they see a type of music or a genre or whatever, and they go like, I'm instead of like, dropping down into the depths of despair. I mean, a lot of us still, do have sorrow and depression and anxiety, but this like music helps us cope a lot of times. Like when we went on tour in 2019 and we had released Breathe, I had so many people come up to me and tell me, I was in active addiction and I went to rehab, and like music is what kind of got me through that. Now I'm on the other side and I'm sober, or I helped somebody get sober. And they felt like those words, they were like, I needed somebody like that to tell me like what I was experiencing wasn't just in my head. Like I was fucked up and I just needed to believe in myself and get the help and get to the other side. And it's sad, but then at the same time, I tell these people, like, well, I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you made it through. I'm glad that you're at my rock concert and you're meeting me because I'm your advocate. I am here to give you that voice of like, even though you were a drug addict and you were mentally ill, you have now gotten help and you've gotten out of that and you are managing your mental illness and you're getting the resources that you need. And it's just, it's so it felt so gratifying in my soul that I had touched so many people.
And it works so much better, I think, for the person who you're touching. We have context for that sentence, so that's cool. Right. If it's coming from someone who they think understands, or has been through it, or someone who is like them in some way, right? Like
Mhm.
yeah, in Chicago, okay, there's 60 or 70 people in this room, and we're all here for Bullet to the Heart and Dogma. This is cool. I'm among 60 or 70 or 80 for I don't know how many fucking people were there. Not enough. Um, so yeah, okay. What are some of the songs from your canon that you would single out as being potentially the most impactful for someone who, is going through some shit, like we all do, right?
Mhm.
And needs someone to say, "Hey, I get it." What-
So I think two of the songs that, off the top of my head, are actually off of our latest EP, Trauma, because those songs were a collection of things that was my trauma and what I had been through. So one of the songs is definitely Fight. That was my trauma response. Um, it's for me writing that song, it was so like good to get it out because like growing up, that's what I was taught. I was taught to fight. Like you gotta like fight your way through it. And no matter how much you don't want to live, you're telling these people, like, I'm living in spite of you. Like, you're not going to beat me down so hard that I'm going to just like off myself. I'm just going to keep coming back. I'm just going to keep fighting. I'm going to keep wrestling. Like, fight is like my biggest thing. But then on the other side, it's also freeze, which is the other side of me. I do suffer from CPTSD, which is complex post-traumatic stress disorder. And even though on the exterior I'm fighting and I'm like, yeah, I'm getting this. On the inside, it's very like, there is still that internal conflict, but it's more of like, I am tired of fighting. I want to lay down. I want to take a rest. But it's nearly impossible because it's always this like fight or flight inside of me to keep myself alive. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. There have been many times in my life I did not want to be here. And I kept fighting, and now I'm in therapy and I'm taking medication. And I feel like that is helping me exorbitantly. Like, it's making me want to be here and want to continue my music career and be with my family and my husband. But it's really, those two songs are like what has like made me me. So it's finding this fine line of like just being, but then also like continuing to go forward and just fight through it.
Okay. Now, have you written a song or have you considered writing a song? Because as I say, unfortunately, I haven't gotten through your whole canon yet. Fuck, you guys have released a lot of music.
Yes.
But do you have or would you consider a song that is about that part of the experience? The oh fuck, I'm so tired, but I don't really have any alternatives except to get back up.
So
Yeah.
honestly, it would have to be Birth of a Tragedy. That is that song. Um,
Okay.
that is a continuation of Breathe. That is, because my uncle overdosed. So that's what Breathe was about. That was about, after kind of getting through the grief, you're at this point of where you're like, I'm still going, but I'm tired. And like the lyrics say, can I be saved? And, when when it's time for me to go, will I know if I have to go? Because you're just so caught up in the throes of grief and then just regular life. It's about that being tired, but like what else am I supposed to do? I can't just lay down and die. So it's like it's this birth of a tragedy. It's like here I am back out of grief, but like what do I do now? Like, what is my purpose?
What is your purpose?
You know, I this goes through my mind all the time, but when I feel confident, my purpose, I full-heartedly believe, and I will say this to the day I die, I feel like in my bones, I'm meant to be this charge into really looking at people or the world with mental illness and getting these people the resources that they need, that they deserve. I want to be that change to where if you want to go get mental help because you need mental help or you need to go to rehab because you're in active addiction and you know that you need help, we make it affordable for these people to get it done, and then we don't burden their families with all of these bills and expenses after, let's say, rehab doesn't work and they pass on. I think it's just the most terrible thing to put on to people and these families who are grieving. So my purpose is to make like that mental health care and rehabilitation more affordable so that we can start making this more normalized, that we as a society need help and it should be affordable to get it.
The song, oh, hang on, I'm forgetting the title. Oh yeah, Flight. I was really struck by the line "Scars run my life," and I like that double meaning, as in I can see the scars and feel them like running through my life, and also the notion that one's scars, to some extent, dictate one's life, but don't necessarily have to. Um, when do you? I think you've already answered this question, actually. When did you first start coming to that realization?
So it was when we started writing trauma because I started going to therapy last year, and then I realized that like oh my God, all of my decisions and everything I do is because of my trauma or my past things that have scarred me. And I was like, at some point, like you have to recognize the scars and you have to say, like, yes, you're there. I acknowledge you. You have made me who I am, but you don't dictate what I do with my life anymore. Like I'm going to move forward and get past it and be whoever the fuck that I want to be because you're not going to tell me what to do or who I'm going to be.
Okay. I want to give a little love to the song Graveyard Lovers. Fuck, I like that song. From the riff to the lyrics to the lead break. Uh, how does that song specifically relate to sort I don't want to use the word mission, but what the hell? Relate to your mission.
So Graveyard Lovers, honestly, so that took a little that whole Death Oddities and Romance EP, except for Postmortem, kind of took a break from like my mission because at that point I was so exhausted after writing Transcendence that Draven was like, why don't we? I remember we were like, why don't we try writing something like fun? And I think Brian wrote that riff as like a oh like fuck you, this is like a pop song. And I was like, damn, that's kind of catchy though. So I actually based that one off of Tim Burton's A Corpse Bride.
Oh,
And like,
okay.
yeah, and just like, you fall like there's a woman, she's, in a grave, she's like half zombie, half human, and she's like, "Oh, I want to marry this guy that's alive." And uh they have a whole wedding, and so you see like her family that's all zombies and then his family that's all human, and they're all coming together and they're having a nice little soiree and a party. So it was kind of a reprieve. I wanted people to also see that like not only are we serious, but we can be like kind of funny and kind of playful. Like we're gonna give you like a little storytelling of like a corpse bride and like have a little bit of fun with it.
Does this apply to Death by the Sea as well?
Yeah, so Death by the Sea is sirens, Revenant is about vampires, and then Black Widow is like about a woman who's like an assassin and she traps like sleazy men in bars and then she kills them and then the bar resets and they wait for another sleazy guy. That one that relates to me because I've had a lot of motherfuckers that think they can touch me at shows because of what I'm wearing. So that was a personal one for all those fucking weirdos out there, men or women, because they all even at the Dogma show, I had a woman come up to me and she literally like pulled her tit out and was like, "Here, sign this." And then I was like, okay. After I got done signing, then she grabbed my head and kissed my forehead, and she goes, "I love you. Can I get your number?" And it's like, why do you think this is okay? Like,
This goes out to all those creepy motherfuckers at the bar that think they can touch me. Try me again, motherfucker!
Well, I mean, there is that parasocial thing, right? Where like fans or just whoever gets like attached to someone who has some degree of celebrity, and I don't know why that happens exactly. I mean, whether it's that person like embodies something that you value, or you're like, oh, I want to be her or him, you know.
mhm.
Um, like, do you experience a lot of that?
Yeah, it's like, and when I meet other musicians that I also look at like, oh wow, you're like a god to me. I try to keep in the back of my mind like they're just regular human beings. Like they're just out and about making music. So I find like a lot of times, especially, with some things that I wear that people think, oh, because I'm giving you money or because I like you or you're hot or you're pretty or whatever, they think that they should just come up and say whatever and, touch me or take things. And it's just like, hey, at the end of the day, I'm just like you. And if we're going to play this game, I'm going to treat you like you're going to treat me. And I don't think you want that. I don't think you want me groping up on you and kissing you and taking your things. So it's like, kind of like, think about that. Like, if you don't want me doing it to you, please, like, don't do it to me because it can be awkward because it's like they're fans and you want to cater to them, but then they're like doing inappropriate shit. And you kind of got to be like, okay, yeah, you're a fan, but like back the fuck up a couple inches or we're going to have a problem type of thing. So I try to just like stay behind the merch table to like not incite that with people because I want to have a good time. I don't want to have a weird interaction.
There you have it, part one of our discussion with Audrey Queen of Chicago alternative metal band Bullet to the heart. I hope you enjoyed this discussion. I enjoyed having it. I enjoyed editing it. I enjoy giving it to you guys. Come back soon in the near future for part 2 of the interview. And as always, you guys of all genders, are awesome. I'll talk to you soon.